What is the practical effect of this order? What countries can Benjamin Netanyahu not visit now because he could be arrested?
Well, this is a very good question. Certainly, there are certain states who have immediately said they will not be enforcing these warrants, Argentina, Hungary, and the Czech Republic. But even those states that haven't publicly come out to say that they would enforce have quite a difficult balancing exercise now to conduct, because the validity of these warrants is going to be critical to the consideration that these states have to take. On the one hand, they may consider themselves to be bound as members of the court to acquiesce to any request that they enforce these warrants. But on the other hand, they are also bound by immunity in international law, which heads of state like Netanyahu enjoy. And if these are, in fact, as I strongly argue them to be, unlawful warrants made on the basis of no jurisdiction without validity, then seeking to enforce them would in and of itself be a breach of the international customary laws on the immunity of heads of state. So it's putting a lot of these individual members of the ICC in a very, very difficult position.
James.
Well, given all of that, and given what you've talked about and spoken about so eloquently about just what a threat to jurisprudence and legal principles this ICC is, we know in the past it's been used by dictators to prosecute enemies and things of that nature. Should nations like Australia simply pull out of the ICC?
Well, that's one option. Another is to make it very clear to the court, up with this we will not put, and to indicate very strongly that all of the questions about jurisdiction, which were raised with the court, both in 2020, when the pre-trial chamber was first considering the opening of an investigation in this context, and also again now in the context of this application for warrants. Many states, international legal experts, international organizations made representations challenging the court. And that is the key here. If the court cannot be reformed, if it cannot be stopped from this political agenda, then leaving it is always an option. But seeking to raise this issue on the agenda when it threatens international law more broadly, and when it also essentially puts at risk all other law-abiding Western liberal democratic
So, Natasha, just very quickly, I've only got a minute left, but I just want to ask you, Penny Wong, our foreign minister, you know who she is, and Ed Husic, one of our other Labor ministers, they've come out and said, oh, no, the ICC must be allowed to carry on. It's independent. We respect its independence, blah, blah, blah. This comes along with a raft of other things that Penny Wong in particular has done. They've recently banned Ayelet Shaked from coming into Australia. She's a former Justice Minister from Israel. What does this tell you, just very briefly, about the Australian Labor government, Penny Wong in particular?
Ayelet Shaked was on her way to a strategic dialogue that she'd been invited to attend, one that is well respected and well attended. It's pretty shameful, but perhaps not something that's surprising in the context of the string of anti-Israel initiatives that this government has taken. The recent change in the last week in UN votes, a historic shift in Australia's voting record. Critically, though, this is putting Australia at odds with US foreign policy. I mean, even the Biden administration called out the arrest warrants as outrageous, but certainly the next US administration is going to be even further at odds with the policy that this government has been endorsing towards Israel at the United Nations, at other international organizations. And that cannot be a good thing for Australia going forward.
Natasha Hausdorff, always great to chat to you and get your clear-eyed vision on what is actually going on in the world. Thanks so much, and we'll chat to you again soon. That's Natasha Hausdorff there from UK Lawyers for Israel.